Hello and welcome back to our McFadden chat series. I'm here today with Brian Kissig. He's a senior TV film major at DeSales. And earlier this month at the DeSales University Film Festival, two films that Brian directed, Code Rush and An Arm and a Leg, won the awards for Best Picture and Honorable Mention. So I'm here to talk to him today about all his work that he's done here at DeSales. Brian, what was your original idea for the film Code Rush, and how did you develop that into the film that it became?
Well, it was a really long process for Code Rush. It started, I think, about like 2 years ago, sophomore year. I had this idea for kind of a web series. It was more of like a spies kind of idea where they were thrown into this thing and they had to catch the enemy and stuff like that. And the idea kind of grew a little bit, it changed a bit, and I decided eventually that it wasn't going to work as much for a web series for my time here at DeSales. So I decided I really liked the idea that I was thinking of. So I decided that instead of doing a web series, I would adapt it into a short film. And then come senior year, I remember I was thinking about ideas I want to do for films that year, and it came back to this one where I thought, hey, I had this idea, I haven't done it yet, I really want to do it. Sat down with a couple friends, told them my idea. I told them I had a little concerns about the spy aspect of it because I wasn't really as familiar with like the terminology and stuff like that. So they suggested I do something that I probably would be more comfortable with. So like technology, video games, like virtual reality, stuff like that. And they had the idea of changing it to more of like a virtual reality type of thing where they're going into kind of like a video game. So there's parts of it that have stayed the same, parts of it that have changed a lot, and I'm really happy I decided to go more of the sci-fi technology route because I think it ultimately ended up being really good for the film.
With the film An Arm and a Leg, that one was partly animated. So how did that affect the editing process, and how did you accomplish that? Yeah,
Arm and a Leg, it was a challenging film to do because the animation that we did for it was a fairly new process for us, and also like the animation itself had not been done in that way many times before. It's only been done by a couple filmmakers. So we kind of had to figure out in our own way, okay, what tools do we know in After Effects and editing and stuff like that that would be able to help us achieve what we want, the look that we want to achieve. So took a couple tests, made little figures and made them move around and stuff like that. And we adapted it to, the character of the octopus that Danny wrote in, and thought about like how would that move as an animation, what kind of aesthetic do we want, and ultimately we really wanted to make it kind of like it's almost like a realistic like piece of paper character in a live action basically. You do is you get the figures made by the graphic artist Victoria and bring those into the program, animate them accordingly. And all this is also like, written out and drawn in pre-production, like storyboard out, where do we want them to go, how do we want them to move, and stuff like that. And it also takes a couple of practical effects on set, like moving the papers around and stuff, and also a lot of sound work. I think sound also really helps sell the effects as well. And overall, it was kind of a cool process, a little challenging, but I think in the end, a lot of the stuff that we wanted to achieve, we did achieve, and so yeah, we were really happy about that.
Great. So were you surprised at all that both these films won those awards?
I actually was surprised a little bit. I actually thought that I think Arm and a Leg had a pretty decent chance at winning something, but I was not. I was pretty surprised that that Code Rush had won the Best Picture, just because of all the other films that were in there and its place in the festival, and because it's not your typical festival like student like independent festival piece. It's more of like a YouTube kind of actiony type of thing. You in the back of mind you do want to win and stuff like that, but you keep telling yourself like you might not win, you might not win. Don't get your hopes up and stuff like that. And it's just I go in thinking just like I have no idea who's gonna win. Maybe it's mine, maybe it's not, and it just, it was pretty cool to hear that both films had won. So yeah.
And then for the third award of the night, which is the audience favorite, the DUFF Award, that was Broken Chain, and you had a hand in editing that as well, right?
Yeah.
This is a film where you have a premonition, and at one point he rides a bike rides his bike through the main character. So how did you pull that off with editing?
Yeah, I think the best part about filming Broken Chain was, even as I was editor, I was also on set doing camera as well. So I had a big say in how the shots were lined to do stuff like that. For that particular shot, what happens is you set up the camera on a tripod, and for the first part we do the little pan in and stop it there. We have to freeze basically and not move the camera for a good like 5 or 10 minutes while we got the actor ready to ride on the bicycle across. So we get one shot of the kid running across and stopping in the street and doing his reaction without the bicycle. We do one shot steady with the bicycle, and then through After Effects you can compile those two together so it looks like he's going across the screen, and then once he gets to the guy standing there, you do a couple little effects to make him disappear and then reappear on the other side.
That's great. And so Brian, you're a senior. Do you have any plans yet for after graduation?
Yes, I've been working on it. Still have a little bit more work to do. I secured a summer job for now, so it gives me a little more time to make some connections and stuff like that. I'm looking at a couple of companies to work for video production nearby for about a year or two, and then eventually I plan to really make a push for my own work, my own YouTube channel and stuff like that, see if I can get successful off of that, do editing, mostly post-production editing for the industry, and then work a lot like in commercial and corporate work and stuff like that. But the ultimate goal, I'd say, is to really try to push my own work and see if I can make my own like production company in the future and stuff like that, so I get to really get my work out there and to really do as what I want to do as a filmmaker.
You think you could edit this video better than I could?
I think you could do a good job. Yeah,
thanks.
It should be fine.
Brian, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.